The Paula Show is on. The Paula Show. Come on, one and all. I extend an invitation to the Paula Show. Join in the conversation. Transforming behavior, recognizing our savior, overcoming hurdles, achieving dreams. Together we can succeed.
Hi, good evening everyone. Welcome to the Paula Show. Tonight we're speaking about road safety. It will be a very interesting night because I understood from our pre-show conversation that if you're driving a manual vehicle or if you're driving an automatic vehicle, you need a specific category of license. I never knew that. So there might be some implications for some of us drivers, especially those of us who drive manual vehicles. Tonight on the Paula Show, it's a learning experience, and I have two very competent guests sitting in with me. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Stay with us, please. Thank you for staying with us on the Paula Show. Remember to watch the Paula Show via CTV Channel 2 on Tuesday nights at 9, and Sundays there's a rebroadcast at 1 in the afternoon. Also remember to like me on Facebook, The Paula Show. Tonight we're speaking about road safety. And there's a little bit of road rage in all this conversation as well. But allow me to introduce you to my guests, please. Corporal Anderson Andy Tuet.
Yes, it is.
So you're corporal,
Yes,
and you work in which department?
The Stratcom. That is
Stratcom.
strategic communication. We are the media, the PR unit of the police force.
Huh. And Lisa Abraham, the racing beautician. You're an authority on road safety. Tell us what you've been doing lately.
What I've been doing in road safety is advocating for road safety because I'm in the world of speed. And for some reason, people think speed is what caused every incident and accident on the roadways.
Bearing in mind that speed is the second
highest.
highest category
That's right.
of road incidents.
That's right.
And you come to the Paula Show.
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody's watching,
Yes,
and you're
ma'am.
saying that you speed.
Yes, I speed, but where do I speed? Where speed is allowed? On the racetrack.
So you speed on the racetrack.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
if I want to speed, I can zoom it up on the racetrack
That's
as well.
right.
Do I have
That's
to have a
right.
license for that?
As long as you have Antigua and Barbuda driver's license and you follow the rules that are provided at North Sound, and you
So I can challenge
sign,
you.
Yes, and you sign the waiver to say that you are competent to take your vehicle down that quarter mile. Yes, you can.
I'm challenging you. The United Nations has reported that 1.25 million people die in road crashes each year. On average, my audience, that is 3,287 deaths each day.
Yes, that's right.
How many road fatalities occurred in Antigua in 2018?
Recorded, we have 6 road fatalities in Antigua in 2018. The year before, we had 11.
That's a decline.
Yes.
Yes,
How
it
many
is.
for the year so far?
For the year thus far, we had 0.
It
Thankfully.
can't be zero.
Zero.
No. Somebody died on a motorcycle the other day. That
Where did
has
they
to be
die?
one.
Where did they die?
It wasn't
Oh.
on a public road.
It wasn't on a public road,
So
so it
it's
can't be
not
considered a
counted as one.
road fatality. It was in a private facility, not on a government road. You can call it an accident caused by vehicular. It's a vehicular accident, but it's not a road fatality.
I told you tonight is going to be a learning experience, and I thought that I was so knowledgeable, but I'm now understanding there's a difference between road fatality and track fatality and fatality that occurs on your property.
That's right.
Unless it's the public road,
Public road.
it's
That's
not
right.
considered a road fatality.
That's right.
So far we had 0.
So far we had 0, and we
Yes.
intend to keep it at 0
Yeah,
for
Vision 0 is our mark
2019.
for 2019.
The other thing that confuses me. Collision versus accident. All my years in Antigua and Barbuda, and reading as well, I've heard of accidents. Now I'm told that things have evolved and it's now a collision. I mean, it's a nicer word, yes, than accident,
Yes.
but what's the difference?
What is an accident? Something that happens accidentally.
Cars
Isn't that
hitting
so?
each other.
Oh, no. What happens if a car hits another car intentionally? Is that an accident?
Yes.
Oh, no.
It's
not
a crash.
No, it's not accidental.
It's a collision.
It's a collision until you can go to court and prove that an accident didn't happen. Because both persons... What happens if somebody decide they want to do like a bubble, as we would call it?
In
and they
what
crash
way?
up two cars.
It's an accident. It's a
Can't be
bubble
accident.
accident.
When they plan it, it can't be accidental when you plan
Accident
it.
refers to something out of your
Out
control.
of your control.
So if you're driving on the road and let's say the road is slippery and you slide off the road, maybe into a drain or such, that's an accident.
Yeah, because it
'Cause it
happened
was out of your
accidentally out
control.
of your control.
But if you're speeding going on the road and you hit a next vehicle, it is a collision.
Listen,
So there's a difference, yes.
when I hear accident, my audience, I think of a little fender bender. When I hear collision, I think mash up. Big accident. So it graduates from an accident now to something huge. So if somebody says to me, girl Paula, there was an accident down the road, I say, oh my, I hope things work out for them. But if somebody comes and says, girl Paula, there was a collision down the road, I'm thinking, Lord have mercy, 10, 15 people are dead.
Oh my.
No,
No,
not really.
no. Not
So now we have
really.
to, we
What
have
has
to,
happened over time, the word accident have been misused in a lot of
and
occasions.
when did we realize that?
A few years
Recently?
ago, it's not just Antigua, it's internationally,
worldwide,
it
right.
has changed.
So we have to
So
change
we
how we
are
speak.
changing and we speak,
That's right.
yes.
Change with the times.
International language.
So, okay. Listen,
right.
I am very curious, and I'm curious on your behalf, my dear people. So, two vehicles, several vehicles, it's a collision, Officer Andy.
If you
Suppose a vehicle hits a body. That must be an accident. That's a
It's
collision.
a collision.
Collision.
It's still
Until
a
you
collision.
can prove that it was accidental.
So, when a car hits a human
Two
being,
objects striking, that's
Collision.
a collision.
whether human
Accident
being
refers-
or
Or
vehicle,
whichever.
Accident would refer to something being out of
and
your
suppose
control.
somebody hits a vehicle now, because you know there have been times
Yes,
when
there
human
have
beings
been
run into a vehicle. That's a
That
collision
happened.
as well.
Yes.
That's right.
My last point in this segment, I'm transforming my behavior because the aim of the Paula Show is to inspire, entertain, and transform behavior. Do not call me anymore and tell me there has been an accident. You need to transform your behavior. From now on, you call me and you say, Paula, there has been a collision.
That's right.
Okay? Thank you very much. Now, officer, if there is a collision and the drivers decide we're making up the case and we're not calling the police, what are your thoughts on that?
We advocate that every collision that you call the police.
Because then your records would not
would
reflect.
And it
But
has
not only
its-
records. If you do not call the police, you know what happens? You plan to fix it out your pocket. Without a police
And
report,
get
insurance is not going to
insurance.
pay.
You were about to say something.
Yes, it was along those same lines. Because what happens, we have had situations where a person make up their cases and someone back out somewhere along the line, and then that's when they come to the police. At that point, there's very
Too
little we
late.
can do.
So
because
always call the police.
Always call the
Even
police.
if it's a little fender bender.
Even it
Even
is,
it, yeah.
call the police, the relevant investigations will take place, and also the police will caution both drivers that you can be prosecuted. Both persons can be depending on what the investigation proves.
Guys, road safety, collaboration. With whom are you guys collaborating? Because road safety is everybody's business. Officer Andy?
Well, definitely it is everybody's business, and even though as police force we do our PR, the traffic department has been doing a wonderful job on the local media each day, putting out number.
Mr. McBurney,
Yes, he
he
does
never
his
gets
part.
tired.
That's his job. So he's out there every day,
Yeah.
and other persons from the traffic department.
Yes.
As you notice, we're doing live shows to show exactly what's going on at certain points in the country. And
Wait. When you watch news on television, right? When are you guys going to get a helicopter? I'm just asking, because you know in the
that's a-
States,
well, we are
it's
hoping
big
that the parlor
move,
show would
big-
move to that level, and then we
Listen.
can partner with you. How
Good.
about that?
I promise you, when we get to the
Right.
place where we're globally
Globally,
positioned,
right.
I am going to offer the police a helicopter for traffic.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay?
We shook hands on
We
that.
shook hands on that.
Yeah.
And on behalf of the Commissioner of Police, I would like to say thank you.
I like that. It's a deal. It's a done deal.
And that's what we
Deal.
do as a full, we partner.
We collaborate.
Okay?
Yeah.
And Lisa can allude to that over the years and upcoming projects the police force have partnered with, because we can't do it alone. And also as a parent, if you look at it from a parenting point of view, as a parent, you can speak to your child numerous times about issues, and they may not listen. But bringing an aunt or a grandparent, they may quicker listen.
That's
So
true.
we as a police force, even though we try to put road tips out, road safety tips, persons do listen. But for instance, Lisa, she would have her following that would quicker may listen to her than us.
So,
Okay, so she does her part, and that's where the collaborative effort comes from in making sure everyone hears.
Yes. So Lisa, tell us about the people who are listening to you. What have you been doing?
What I've been doing through my advocacy campaign is sharing the message via my social platforms on Facebook and Instagram at The Racing Beautician, and also on WhatsApp. I have 700 and something people in my phone from all over the world, people as far as Saudi Arabia. And I send a
Lisa,
message
be
to
careful.
them every single day. So I send a message, I do a broadcast every day. Some people block me, some people, some people kind of need to save the little data, they block off the broadcast. And I have people that respond every single day.
You
throughout the
guys are
world.
doing a good job. In comparison to 5 years ago, we have an overwhelming number of vehicles on the roads in
definitely.
Antigua and Barbuda. And it's so difficult to get from one place to another.
That's right.
What are we going to do about that? Because road rage is increasing.
And it will, because with the build-up of traffic,
Yes.
there's built-up of emotions, which leads to frustrating issues. But what we're asking persons to do, you've realized that. And if you've realized it, it means a great number of drivers would have realized that. So it means then you have to leave home earlier. And there are a
Listen.
number of by roads that you can use. Yes.
Those by roads are no longer secret. Everybody knows those roads.
That's right.
So when I'm trying to dig through an alley, there are several persons
right.
with the same idea.
But I utilized quite a few by roads.
Paula,
Officer, tell me about those by roads
the
you've
by
been
roads are
using.
there. A lot of persons still do not utilize them. They stick to the main highways
Lisa, you've been
and
using
byways.
by roads?
Let me tell you.
Tell
half
me,
the
girl.
by roads don't make no sense. For me, I can go anywhere.
Me
For
too.
you can go anywhere.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
depending on what you're driving, try
The low bouncy cars can't do the by road.
But okay.
Trouble.
And for some of the by roads as well, because we have so many drivers, or may I say non-drivers.
Oh dear, let's not go there.
With the by roads, because they are not very
Paved
real
sometimes,
roads,
yeah.
some of the people just can't drive, so they just make your life real hard through the by roads. So sometimes it's
The
really
racing bush-
easier.
The racing
stay on
the
beautician
road.
is
On the real
exhibiting
roads.
some road rage on set tonight at the Paula show. Darling, please be
down,
calm.
calm
Please be calm.
It happens, and that's exactly what happens on a daily basis.
You know what
Person
annoys
become
me?
frustrated.
I'm following your queue. A long queue, traffic. And some smart, usually a young man, decides he cannot wait any
And he
longer.
pulls out.
He pulls out, there's oncoming traffic, and he wants to swerve in.
Dangerous or reckless driving.
Exactly.
And
So you
then
need to learn. Stay
People
out
would
there.
think that you're cold when you don't let them in.
Cold.
understand?
We're all going to the same,
Same place.
Of
destinations.
course, so
You
just
need
take
to
your time
wait
and
your
easy.
turn.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
But then sometimes not showing the road courtesy creates the
Officer.
road rage. I do understand, yes, that
He
sometimes
has
you
to say
not
the right thing.
you
Yeah.
not allowing someone
He's
out.
on national TV. I got
It
it.
creates the
Allow
road
him.
rage. So yes, sometimes I'm not saying you should just stay at the junction and allow everybody to pass.
So you're blaming
But
me.
No, I'm not blaming you if he
So what
decides
do
to
I
pull
do to
out.
curb the behavior?
You cannot stop someone from just deciding to pull out. And the most we can tell you to do is to record the number and report it to the traffic department.
You know what Toyota have done really bad in recent times is making them plastic bumper. You know, back in the day, you
Yeah.
easy push them.
Even if he cuts in front and it can be proven that you probably did something to cause the collision, you can be held responsible.
So if he swerves in front of me and I hit him from the back, I'm wrong now.
I'm not saying you are wrong. The investigations will have to prove what happens, because I personally would have seen it. Person have done that, pulled out, and someone decided, okay, you're not getting through, and they speed up. Now, if that is shown in an investigation that
No,
you speed up to
no.
block that individual, you can be held accountable for that.
Boy, life is so unfair.
Exactly.
right?
So that is what I'm saying to you. If he does that, allow
Exercise
him to get in,
caution.
take the number, and report it to the traffic department. Where
But
it
you're
will
not
be-
going to do anything.
It will be investigated, and if
You're not, the
proven,
behavior is not going to be transformed because
it
you're not
will.
going to do anything.
If he's taken before the court, he will be surprised to know that someone actually got his number.
Officer, the other thing I don't like, Lisa, agree with me here, darling.
Okay.
At an intersection, a vehicle should stop. I have the right of way. Why is it the bully drivers are not stopping? Why?
Road rage. Again.
Road rage?
Aggressive drivers, that happens. We all obtain our license via the nice book that is called the Highway Code. And we all should know.
That's
The rules
outdated,
of
you
the
know.
road.
That's outdated, please.
Okay? But it is the law still.
This
is what we still use.
And that's the problem. Your
Okay.
traffic department might need to evolve a
But
bit.
it's not really traffic department.
Is who?
Transport board.
Them too.
They're the one who provide you with the license. Once
They
they prove
should
it
too.
fit. We
They should.
enforce laws.
Yes.
Right?
That little book from since dinosaur age, you know how many changes have occurred in the world and nothing is happening? So driversed.com says road rage incidents might start with a flashing light, high beams, aggressive behavior, then it escalates the tailgating, shaking of fists, high-speed chase, and sometimes somebody pulls the trigger and somebody dies.
Yes.
But we don't do those things in Antigua.
We
Nobody has been
haven't.
killed
Not to
as
that
a
level.
Not to
result.
that level.
No.
But we won't ever
And we
get
hope it
there.
doesn't get there.
No, we won't get there.
I had a guest here from California, and while we're driving, people honking their horns. So she said, "Oh, Lisa, what's really going on?" She started getting radical. She said, "In California, people start honking their horn. It's war time."
Yes. It's a cultural
I said,
difference.
"No, it's
yes.
just people saying hi."
Hi.
She said, "Lisa, everybody in this country tells you hi. Everybody, everywhere. People just honking their horn."
So she's thinking it's trouble. But you know what, officer, my last point in this segment, and do not be defensive.
Okay.
Remember, you're on the polish, I'm in control tonight.
Okay.
Why is it the ambulances and the police vehicles, they're flashing their sirens, and officer, we sometimes know it's not an emergency, because when we pull aside to allow them, then we meet them up the road at some place buying bread, butter, and cheese. That's not right. That is not right.
And I would say if that is the case, it definitely
If that
is
is the
not
case,
right.
I'm telling you that's the
But
case.
I would tell you, how do you know it's not an emergency? I can tell you of a personal experience where
Officer,
I was driving
said
an
it's not
emergency vehicle.
because I
Hold
see
on.
the same vehicle.
I was driving an emergency vehicle. I got a call. I responded, lights and siren. While going to the call, I received a next call to say, disregard the call. Now, as a driver, if I just shut it off in traffic, that's the first thing you will say, that I didn't
So
have
you
a
kept
real
it on.
emergency. What I personally would have done was to keep it on until I get to a safe place away from traffic, and then I turn it off.
Officer, did you hear
But
what
then
I
somebody
said?
on the other hand might say, maybe I was still hungry, I go to the shop.
Ah!
I'm saying
I figured
the
that's where you were
correct
going.
thing to
I
do,
figured that's where you were
if
going.
you feel aggrieved that an emergency vehicle would have abused,
number.
take the number,
And report
report
it.
it to the relevant agent, or
Oh,
still
boy.
report it, whether it's police, fire, EMS, to the authorities, and it will be investigated. I guarantee you on that
Paula,
one.
you realize this corporal is
Okay.
well trained?
He said, I realize, and that's why I told him, do not become defensive. Because I know there was no emergency
know?
originally. They were on their way to buy breakfast, and the traffic was, it was.
And you
just
felt aggrieved.
aggrieved.
And what did you do after that?
I said, look at them now. That's why sometimes when people hear them, they
Then
don't
pull
want to
over.
pull
And
over
it's no
on
excuse.
the shoulder.
And it's no excuse.
Thank you for staying with me on the Paula show. I know you feel my pain tonight. This is a painful experience with Officer Anderson Chewit. But you know, in the next segment, we'll tone it down. We'll be right back. Speeding is the second leading cause of motor vehicle collisions in the USA. Any success from your speed booth? I saw one on Factory Road. I've never seen a police here.
No. They were mainly placed on the 2 highways that are now under construction.
Yes.
Most of them were on those roads, so they were removed in recent time due to the construction of...
So the police might be in the bush then.
you never know.
You never
never know, and I wouldn't tell you if they're there or not. So that is why I wish for you
You're on the
to
Paula
stick with
show.
it.
We're friends. You can tell me if the police is lurking around in the bush.
The police are everywhere.
Police
But
must be
suppose
that is
Jehovah.
why you should remain driving within the speed limits and drive safely.
All right. I don't mean to be hard on young men, but it's my experience. They're driving these oversized trucks and hauling containers, and they're so reckless, speeding. Sometimes they're approaching a junction, and it's difficult for them to stop. Too much speed. I mean, who offers them licenses?
Well, that goes back to Transport Board again.
right.
Oh, I
Once
have to
they
get somebody
have
from Transport Board
satisfied the
here.
requirements to operate such vehicle,
They
then
cannot control the vehicles, officer. I'm telling you.
well, once they go to Transport Board and they satisfy the invigilator that they have met the requirement, they will be issued the necessary license, because all
A
vehicles
license to drive an
to
oversized
drive
truck.
To drive an oversized
Oversized
truck,
vehicle,
that's
yes.
right.
But suppose they're driving an oversized truck with a license for, let's say, a
Automatic.
regular
a
vehicle.
regular vehicle, that's illegal. That is illegal.
So the owner is at fault there because you need to check the license.
Right. If you're going
Of
to
your
hire
employees.
someone to drive your vehicle, you're supposed to check. It could even be for your car, because you have motorcycle license. And a motorcycle license doesn't give you the authority to drive a car.
This is
And vice
confusing.
versa.
And vice versa.
I can understand you have a license for a motorcycle, an oversized truck, but you have to have a license for various types of vehicles.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Meaning a sedan
Categories.
versus a truck.
Yes, they're
They're
different sizes and
categories.
weight.
Weights and sizes. Manual,
Manual,
versus
automatic.
You know, when I found out that some persons have been driving a manual vehicle for nearly 30 years, and the person didn't even realize that there's a difference between a manual license and an
automatic
automatic
license.
license. The person nearly had a fit. I'm not going to tell you whom that person is. But I mean, come on, officer.
Yes,
Who is
there's a
supposed to
difference.
educate us? You're laughing.
You're supposed
what
to
type
educate
of license
yourself.
do you have? You
Oh,
drive a
really?
truck. Let me hear this.
I have a license that can drive anything that moves on the road.
So you can drive oversized
Anything
vehicles. So what
that moves on
license
the
is
road.
that?
F6.
F6?
Yes, ma'am.
That sounds like a movie.
All group. That's an all group license.
An all group.
All group.
So
I
everything
can
below
drive
that,
anything that
she can
moves on the
drive.
road.
That's the highest you can get.
So how do I get a F6?
You would have to go to Transport Board and satisfy the requirements for
So
the
I have to
F6.
drive the big truck, the
Yes,
same big truck I'm fussing
right.
about.
You have to go and show
And
them you
they
can
usually
handle
gear
that.
shift.
Yes, and they have plenty
Push them
gears.
18
It's not just
gears.
1 and 2 gears.
Officer,
Right?
officer, I
Okay.
am pushing gears, you know.
Yes.
I'm pushing gears.
But make sure you have the requisite license to push the gears.
I'm
and
not
that's all they
liking
need.
your conversation
Okay?
right now. I'm not liking
It's road
where you're
safety
going.
we're talking.
You tell
And
me.
that is all part of road safety. Okay?
So tell me about those licenses.
Because
look
if-
at
Okay,
at this.
I have one here.
Yeah, tell me.
Okay, and it says the F, which is the all group,
F6.
and F6, because there's some numbers at the bottom where it says part B, you have part A, and you have part B. So you have to match a letter and a number. So Lisa, she has an F6, which means the F is the all group,
Right.
and the 6 inclusive 1 through 5. So all categories from 1 to 5, she can drive anything.
And what about me?
I believe
What's
you
your
might have what?
license? I am. I drive a manual Hilux most times.
A manual Hilux. What does your license say?
Me?
Yes. Have you looked at the back?
No.
No. Okay.
Neither the front.
Officer,
Okay.
I look at the front.
You look at the front, but you don't look at the back?
I'm sorry, my people. I didn't realize I was supposed to look at the back, so I looked at the front, and I was satisfied with all the information at the front. Now that I know better, I'm telling you, I'm doing better. But if you have never looked on the reverse side of your license, please so do. There's important information there.
At the
But you
back.
need to look at the front first.
Y'all
it
are
says-
confusing
no,
me. Look at
first.
the back.
No, you look
No,
at the
look
front.
The front where it says class.
Class C1.
C1. How do you know what a C1 is? That's when you turn to the
turn
reverse.
it over.
C says private manual.
Right.
And 1 says private motor vehicle not exceeding 5 tons.
You know, telling
So that's
me
what
about
a
weight
C1
of
is.
vehicle and all
Right.
of that. All right, listen. I'm going to study the reverse side of my license like I'm studying for a test. That
And
satisfies
remember,
you?
if you have an automatic
Officer, how many times
license,
are you going to
no,
say
I'm just
that?
telling you, if you have an automatic license, you should not be driving a manual vehicle.
And if you have a manual license,
You
Can.
can
You
drive.
shouldn't
but
be
not-
driving.
No, you
you
can
can drive an
operate an
automatic.
You see the
automatic
discrimination?
vehicle. No, because one is more difficult than the other.
That's right.
So if you get the license in the difficult one, which is the manual one,
Right.
it's much
Then-
easier to drive the
I
automatic
tell
transmission.
you, I drive a Hilux and I have about 5 gears and I use
Okay.
all.
Okay, then.
You use all
ALL.
on the roads in Antigua.
On the roads in Antigua, don't question me like that on TV.
Oh, you're going to the track. Lisa, she's coming to the track.
That's right.
Lisa, she's coming to
That's
your
right.
track.
That's
Okay?
right. And we have an event coming up just for her, so she have to come up with the
Praise the
Hilux.
Lord, hallelujah.
Once she abides by the safety rules.
That's right.
And I'm fussing about the young boys. Guys, I don't mean to fuss about you, but most of the issues I have encountered, they're with young male drivers. But surprisingly, I was told that the young male drivers are not the perpetrators causing the most accidents in Antigua and Barbuda.
That's right.
Officer, is it true?
Well, based on the statistics for last year, between the age of, let's say, 18 to about 30, maybe up to 35, we haven't had much problem with that age range. The middle age to probably the older. That was the age range that proved most challenging last year. So the middle
I'm
age,
in the 35.
you're in the-
Yes,
That-
right there.
Do you know what is a major problem too?
what's that?
They practice in the small, mini box cars.
To get the
And
license.
then as soon as they get the license,
Mark
they get a nice big SUV from Japan, come in, loaded, and the next thing you know, they can't even turn a corner. Holding up the whole traffic just to turn a corner.
That's right.
That is something
That-
the police and the transport board need
I
to
would,
look
I
into.
would agree with you
I'm
with that.
serious.
We've seen it. It has happened that persons do get the license. Because if you look at most persons that teach persons to drive, the
That's
vehicles
what I'm
are very
saying.
small.
Very small.
And because of your standard of living, you might be able to afford, like you say, a nice big pickup, like Lisa. And-
You're really stuck on this pickup.
Yes, because I'm hoping that I can get one too.
Well,
Yes. So you would find that persons gravitate to a much larger vehicle and it would pose some challenges. How you know that? I have seen vehicles, when you look at all 4 corners, you see them scratch on bumper, right, left, rear. And that is
that's an
showing poor
indication.
judgment.
Of
poor
course,
judgment.
poor judgment.
Poor
I don't have any
judgment.
scratch on my
So it
hand.
means then that you cannot navigate the streets like you should. Persons are probably not using their mirrors, because a lot of persons maybe don't even set their mirrors properly. They just go in, swing, drive, and don't realize that their external mirrors
That's
are
right,
not
and-
set properly to gauge you to make your turns effectively.
We're
Well,
even
driving
seeing
a
people
car is
now
such a huge
driving with their
responsibility.
mirrors turned
Turn
in.
in.
That's
It's a
like
style.
what kind of style
Okay.
that, Paula?
It's a style.
When
It's a
you
style
can't see
that
where
can
you're
kill
going.
you and others.
You can
That's
you
right.
can look in the
No.
It's a style officer. The things that people hold dear as style and fashion.
They were placed on the vehicle for a
For a
reason.
reason.
And the show wasn't to turn them in while operating the vehicle.
I guess it looks cute.
It looks cute, but it's
Really?
dangerous.
So if the police sees the angel wings folded
It's an
in,
offense.
and what do you do?
It's an offense.
Do you
And why do we
charge?
charge? It's
Because
an offense.
half of the problem in Antigua and Barbuda, you know, we have these laws and we're always
enforced.
amending laws and they're not enforced
At
any
all.
way
That's
at all.
right. At all.
Oh dear. Thank you
I-
for staying with us on the polish officer. We're going to be right back. This is getting heated. The road rage is on set tonight. We'll be right back.
Another stats that came out from last year is that we realized a significant increase in the number of collisions happening in, let's say, parking lots.
Like Epicurean, which is a
Right.
sponsor of the Paula show. I see accidents in Epicurean.
There was a
parking lot.
significant increase with that, which
What's
means
up?
that
What's up?
persons
What's
are
that?
not paying keen
They're
attention
not using the mirrors.
in most cases when they're
They're just not paying
reversing.
attention.
And most vehicles today now have a rear view camera.
And the
Persons
alert.
just, right. Persons may look at that rear view screen alone, but forget
can't
the
see all
external
the-
mirrors.
Because
the
they're
side
folded in.
mirrors.
Remember, they're folded
Some
in
may be
sometimes.
folded in.
In or out, sometimes you
And if
just
they're
have
out-
blind spots and you just
Exactly.
don't pick up. So you need to use your mirrors.
You need to use all three.
And listen for the horn, because
Listen for
sometimes
the
people
horn,
are honking
honking
their
you.
horns. But do you know that sometimes people are driving vehicles without horns?
That's right.
That's
a-
an offense.
That's an offense?
Yes.
course.
Boy,
Your
I'm
vehicle
hearing about
supposed
all these-
your vehicle is supposed to be roadworthy at
That's
all
right.
times.
All times.
All time. So even if you would have gone to transport board, it was roadworthy at the time it was inspected. 2 weeks later, the horn stopped working.
Need to
You're
get it
supposed to get that horn fixed. Don't wait until next year when it's time to license to go and fix it.
That's
People
right.
do that?
Well,
yes,
of course.
it happens.
I'm appalled. The third leading cause of motor vehicle collisions is driving under the influence. The second one is speeding. The first one, distraction.
Distractions.
And that's
Yep.
according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration in the US. Similar in Antigua?
Similar. Distracted driving is a major problem in Antigua. And distracted driving encompasses a whole lot. It could be from loud music. It could be from the use of handheld devices. It could include even non-handheld devices, like if your phone is connected via Bluetooth. These are distracted driving. Anything
Children,
that children making noise in
unrestrained,
the unrestrained.
food.
I've seen a new one on the
yeah,
road.
eating
Food
your
persons
food.
eating while they're
course.
driving.
Eating is a distraction,
Yes,
of course.
you're
So you would
operating a
charge
vehicle.
me for eating?
Yes, you're not driving
You
with due
need
care
one
and
of your
attention.
hands. You're not using both.
Both hands supposed to be on the steering wheel, so how will you be eating? And I've seen a new one now with persons driving with dogs, those little small toy dogs. I've seen quite a
That's
few
a
of them.
distraction?
Yes,
Of
it could
course.
be. What happens if that
The
dog...
next thing you're going to tell me is driving with my husband, my boo-boo is a distraction.
Well, if he should not be distracting you while you're driving. I hope he doesn't.
No, he's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy. We only
Okay.
talk.
And when he's driving, I hope you don't distract
No, we
him.
only talk, officer.
Oh, you only talk.
No handcuffs tonight. We only
Okay,
talk.
you only
We
talk. But
only
the talking can be a distraction too.
Oh, Lord, well, I
Yes,
distract him a lot there.
you distract him a lot. So
How is talking a distraction when you
it can be
paying
loud,
attention.
depending on how the it's like our conversation tonight. Imagine you driving and you have a conversation to that magnitude. You're not going to be hearing properly. You're not going to be seeing.
So I'm supposed to be just like this. Mr. Lee, so as I was saying, darling, that makes me feel constrained, officer.
And you know you can't.
No! Release me, release me.
But yes, distracted driving, it is a worldwide problem. It is a problem in Antigua. Like I mentioned, the one with the dog. I'm seeing that one popping up now with persons driving and they have the little toy dogs in the front. Dogs, they jump easily by sound. What happened? You remember you mentioned about that truck with that loud horn.
Yes.
If that loud horn suddenly allows a dog to just jump onto
Jump
you
on me and
and you're driving.
ooh, I never thought about that.
Exactly.
And Lisa applies her makeup in traffic.
I hope she doesn't.
Paula,
You don't
I
do it
hope
anymore.
she doesn't. I hope.
You don't do it anymore.
I only did it for the photo shoot.
which I guess wasn't on a public road.
No, it was
It
on
was
a
on
side
a public
road.
road because we were
Closed.
portraying the message.
And it was a closed
Closed
it was
road
right.
portraying the message. So we had to make it look real.
So you see the difference. It was a closed road.
Course. And making
for
it
that
look real
real.
for the
Well, I
purpose
can
intended.
consider Old Palm Road a closed road for all intents and purposes. First offense, 1,000 plus disqualification from holding or applying a driver's license for 3
Yes.
months. Second offense and following, $2,500 disqualification from holding or applying for a driver's license for 1 year.
So those are some of the new amendments to the
Yes.
Road Traffic Act. Like I said, the distracted driving has become such a problem that it was seen fit by the authorities to, the traffic department more so, to push some of these issues, and Lisa can attest to that as part of an organization that really pushes for road safety, that these things have become so much of a problem that sadly we have to put laws in place. So yes, there are new amendments to the Road Traffic Act to handle
I'm going to
these
ask you a
offenses.
And
Yes.
will there be enforcement? And will the police make sure that if it's your friend or your family member, that people will still be charged?
Or if it's the police.
Or if it's
If it's the
another
police,
officer?
I would say according to the law, there is discretion given to emergency personnel
I
in the execution of their duties.
Like the ambulance
The ambulance,
operators,
police,
EMS.
if they're
But
in the
suppose it's a police
execution,
driving his private vehicle.
That's
No.
what I want to know.
unless he's executing his duty, because he can be on duty in his private vehicle.
And blocking
But
up
if
traffic.
well, if
and
he's
on the
blocking, that's a
phone
different issue.
And all them things.
Suppose I have an emergency. Suppose my boo-boo is calling me to tell me that something is wrong. And
Yes.
can't I take a quick call?
No.
Excuse me, it's
No.
an emergency.
Pull off to the side of the road, stop the vehicle.
That's not a good idea.
Yes, it is
Listen.
a safe idea.
200 vehicles are behind me. I'm pulling off on the shoulder.
Yes.
When do I get an opportunity to
It
re-enter
is
the
the
queue?
safe option. It is the safe option.
So you don't make allowances for
No,
emergencies?
no emergency pull over. Well, it's not actually us. If we see you in breach of the law, it goes to the court, and the magistrate will make the decision.
Whether it was an emergency or not?
based on the investigation and what they would be at this, have the discretionary power to say whether they're gonna convict you or give you a warning, whatever it is.
But I won't be in
our
prison.
job is to do the
I
investigation.
won't be in prison.
If you will be in prison, not according to the act at
Not
that point in
according
time.
to the act.
It says that you will be fined and your license suspended.
For a whole year?
Well,
Then how am I supposed to
Well,
get
you have
to make
different
a
levels.
living?
If you look at it, there are different levels, and that is why they're there to make sure that persons operate vehicles safely on the road.
Racing speed trials. I heard this should have been called the lease law.
The law
permission.
that was on the books for umpteen years spoke against speed test trials on the roads. It was illegal for speed test trials. But what was happening throughout the years is that they were granting permission for it because they realized the law was antiquated and it needed some revision. When the Drag Racing Association got permission for North Sound, it became a problem for us even to have events because we still had to be going to get permission. And just like everything else here, we sit back and wait for it to be done. The Drag Racing Association at the time didn't sit back. Our team got information from Australia, Barbuda, and several other countries, and we got a lawyer to draft the amendment.
But this is serious, and so the law was changed as a result of those
So we
efforts.
drafted the amendment and we presented it to the then Minister of Sports. It then went to the AG's office, and now we're seeing that is
The Lisa law.
Not
The
Lisa's law.
Lisa
Not
Lee's
Lisa
law.
Not Lisa Lee's, not at all. But
So,
I'm happy
so
that
what we need
I
to do
was
is
a part of-
agitate.
Agitate.
Agitate
Of course,
to
of course,
ensure
of course,
that
to
we're
make
well
sure.
represented.
That's right. In everything.
In everything.
That's right.
In this segment, it's our closing segment, I would like us to tell the audience how we can be better drivers, better pedestrians too,
Yes,
because
yes.
some pedestrians, cars are driving and they're behaving as if
They're licensed and
you know, I'm indestructible. their license insured. So you're stepping across the
That's a
street, and it's almost as if you're saying, hit me if you, and some of them they
would
turn
dare you
around and dare you like,
yes,
Let's
it
get
happened.
emphasis
and you know what I
on
say?
hospital card.
These are people who haven't traveled to the States.
Yep.
Because when you see a green light, it means go.
Go.
Okay.
And when you see red, it means stop. And when you're stepping over and green, look trouble, you may
Yep.
not live to tell the tales.
That's right.
So I say they haven't traveled to the States. Seriously. Let's raise the level of awareness.
Social media is one of the biggest rave, not just in Antigua, but throughout the world. And we use it for just about everything, like the things we really need to use it for. There's a lot of information there, not just socially, but
But
also
some
on
people
the
don't like
internet.
to read. Well, I suppose you can use videos as
There's
well.
there are lots of
There are
videos out there
and
as well.
images.
But all in all, road safety is everybody's business.
But you
And
can use entertainers and
you can use-
artists.
There are several images out there that are with entertainers, with artists, with famous people that are out there to portray the messages of road safety. And road safety is not just for vehicles, because people somehow think road safety only has to do with vehicles. You have road safety for people that are walking, running, you know, it's
Cycling.
cycling.
Vendors, you have road safety for vendors because some vendors are so close to they're not off the lip of the road.
Outside of that, road safety is where even road safety when we're traveling on the roads after hours. You get a flat and you pull off and you're changing your flat.
No, rim that. Rim that. Husband, rim that.
So you
I'm
need to
not
have,
stopping.
No, you really need to have a flashlight with you, something reflective, just in case you need to pull off and it's not somewhere that's well lit. So just in case something is coming along the road, people can see that you're there just in case of. So all of these things we need to practice. We need to keep away from the distractions. Imagine people texting. And make a touch the officer up on this one. Big and serious. No motorbike rider, whether he's an officer or a regular rider, should be on no cell phone or no motorbike.
So tell us how can we access your social media site?
So I'm on Facebook and Instagram at The Racing Beautician. You can follow me. I'm there. We share a road safety message Monday to Friday, every single day of the week. When it's National Road Safety Week, we go 7 days a week. And outside of that, if you're not on any of the social platforms, you can send me a message, 783-2290. I'll add you to my broadcast.
Tell me, officer.
One of the major issues we're seeing too, especially with the younger persons too, is the use of headphones and these earbuds and
Blocking out
everything,
sound.
and they're just walking.
Ridiculous.
That is a big issue. You cannot be on the street with your ears totally blocked. What happens if somebody's blowing their horn to alert you of some danger? You wouldn't be able to hear that. So as a pedestrian, you should not be distracted likewise. The distracted texting while walking. We've seen how many videos of persons ending up in holes and pools and you name it, because they're so locked into their handheld
What can be
devices.
so interesting that you would risk your life? Nothing
Exactly.
has ever
Everything can
interested
wait.
me so much
That text
I'm
message
glued
can
to a
wait.
phone.
That video can wait. That phone call can wait.
Immature.
Right? So everything can wait. You're walking, you should be focused. A number of persons are exercising early in the mornings or late in the afternoons. Wear reflective vests.
Oh, your
Or the
sneakers can be
Or the
reflective.
That's right.
sneakers, bags, clothing. They have clothing that are reflective also.
right.
Yeah.
So even that, it's for your safety. It may cost you an extra $1, but it's for your safety. And also, if you're an adult walking a child, have the child on the inside of you.
How can we get more information about Stratcom and the police and
Stratcom, like I said, we are the PR unit
So
for
do
the
you have a
force.
social media
We do have a
site?
social media. We have the Royal Police Force of Antigua and Barbuda. We do use that as a part of our outreach programs to disseminate information, not only for road safety, but crime tips. You would notice when we have certain peaks, like around carnival time, we would increase the safety tips, Christmas times, road safety tips, increase in education and in amendments to new laws. It's the Royal Police Force of Antigua and Barbuda. That's our Facebook page. You can message us there, or you can call 4620125 and we will give you advice accordingly.
It's been my pleasure having
Thank
you
you for
on the
being
Paula
here.
Show tonight. Liz, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you
and
too,
I look
Paula.
forward to continue working with you
Every
guys.
time.
Our aim is to inspire, entertain, and transform behavior. I suppose you've listened all night long to this program. You've watched it, and I do hope that the content is sufficient enough to begin the transformation of your behavior. So thank you very much for watching, and have a good evening.